So I'm getting a pretty late start on today's video. It is about 4 o'clock. I am on my spring break for my final semester in college. And since I didn't have a video for all of you on Saturday, I figured since I have this whole week off with no obligations to school, I mean, I could be studying for exams, but I'm not gonna do that. But while I have the time, I figured we might as well go ahead and jump right into a full week of daily uploads, which to me is pretty exciting because there is just so much that needs to be done in terms of all of the cars. So we're definitely not going to be dry in terms of content. But either way, I know a lot of you know that at the Orlando Speed World, there is this whole big drift event called the Spring Break Bash. And unfortunately, because the S13 and the FRS are down, the S13 since it's going through the LS3 swap and the FRS because it's running dangerously lean, I don't really have a car to drift. I mean, I could take my dad's BRZ, but I don't really want to do that. And I definitely don't want to drift the S14. But right now is my last-ditch effort into trying to figure out why the FRS is running so lean. So I went ahead and talked to my tuner, James, over at HRI Tuning, aka the man to tune your 86. And he was saying that he thinks it might be a pre-turbo exhaust leak. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, the FRS got the turbo from my dad's BRZ. And when we switched everything over, we used new gaskets and pretty much new hardware all around. So to me, thinking that it's going to be an exhaust leak, I'm kind of skeptical, but I really don't know what else it could be. So we might as well go ahead and see if anything's loose, even though we just did this not too long ago. Now, another cause that I was thinking was that it might be the O2 sensor going bad, which might be the issue, but then again, I don't know. What we can do is steal the O2 sensor from my dad's BRZ and throw it on the FRS just to see if it still runs lean. So I just disconnected the primary O2 sensor and used this special crow's foot 7/8 inch O2 sensor socket piece. I know that's a handful, but I use this to loosen up the O2 sensor because I really didn't want to have to take off the skid plate, drop the header, only to temporarily steal that sensor. Now that I got that loose, it should just thread right off. There we go. And I just removed the sensor off of the FRS. Here it is right here. And in comparison, I mean, I don't know. I know there are ways that you can clean these sensors, but maybe this one is just toast because it was used on the BRZ when it was boosted. So maybe that's the case. So we'll go ahead and just thread the BRZ sensor into the test pipe down there. We'll give her a start. So Drift Dad and I went ahead and went through the FRS, made sure all of the exhaust connections were tight, and of course they were because we just did this a couple weeks ago.
And I'm accomplice to theft now.
What do you mean?
Stealing parts off my car for your car.
You're an accomplice to...
I'm an accomplice to that. Stealing parts. I guess it's not stealing if it's from my own car.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess that's why we bought the BRZ, right? So if we wanted to swap parts or do something and test something.
And it's another reason for me to keep all of the hoarded stock parts that I have in my bedroom.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But now that we think we have it fixed, I'm gonna go take it out for a test drive. You coming?
No, because you go crazy in this thing. I gotta be here to come get you when you, on the side of the road, broke down.
No. In full boost, we should be seeing an AFR rating of around 11 to 11.5, and right now it's hovering about 14.5 to 15. Definitely a lot more lean than what we want. And in typical ambush drift fashion, it is the next day, Sunday, and no, I didn't get to take the FRS drifting. So after taking it out yesterday and seeing that it was still running lean after tightening up everything and replacing the O2 sensor, I tried to figure out how to data log with Ecutech, the software that's used to tune the FRS and BRZs. And sure enough, I ran into computer problems, which I then figured out this morning. So I took this out earlier today, did some data logging, sent it over to James. James said he's gonna take a look at it and hopefully he'll be able to pinpoint what it is that might be wrong with the car. If not, then it might be an installation error air on the fuel pump, or maybe there's a crack in the exhaust before the O2 sensor, but I don't know. I'm not a tuner. Even if this car was running just fine, I did notice something on my front tires, which probably wouldn't be the best to drift on. Right here. I'm corded from all that left foot braking. So I guess it's good that life worked out this way, because I probably still would have drifted with a corded tire right there, which isn't safe.
Since when do you ever worry about being safe?
I don't.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Grandma, you hear what he just said? I think you need to sit him down and have a good grandma-grandson talk to him.
I love Grandma. She supports me.
Yeah, but she won't when she finds out you don't care about being safe. Will you, Grandma? Or should I say, will you, Mom? I know you don't like me calling you Grandma.
So instead of being all in the dumps today with not being able to drift, we got the right tool in to do our valve spring job here, so Drift Dad and I are knocking that out. Before we started doing this, we did finish up the oil pan install, so that's good to go. We did have a difficult time getting that crank pulley on. There was another special tool, which I don't know where it went, but we had to use that. Oh, here it is. So it threads into the crank, and then it presses the harmonic balancer onto the crank snout. This is like a tool I picked up off Summit Racing for, it was like 17 bucks. Can you believe that? 17 bucks for a rod and nut and washer combo?
Yeah, but you know what? How many times have we talked about having the right tool for the job?
Yeah.
You don't have the right tool for the job, you pay for it.
Yeah. And speaking of having the right tool, here is the, what is it? I think it's the Trick Flow Specialties valve spring remover, which has been working like a charm for the most part. Like you said, having the right tool for the job helps a lot. Last weekend when we were trying to change out the springs, we only got about 3 done in a matter of probably 3 hours. That's how annoying it was. And I have knocked out all but 1 set of springs in a matter of, I would say, 30 minutes. I'll give you guys a quick demonstration of how it works. So take the tool, you thread it into where the rocker arms thread into. 1 bolt here and 1 bolt here. We'll make sure that it's nice and tight so it won't chew up the internal threads there. And all it is a matter of tightening down this nut here. Tighten it by hand first, that would help. Just keep tightening. Now the spring is pushed down enough to where the keepers should come out. Just grab onto them right here. There's those 2. They're all taken out. Throw it in the bag. Loosen this up now. Turn this piece to the side. And then grab your springs. Easy as that. Now, one thing you'll definitely want to make sure, whenever you go to change the valve springs for each of the cylinders, you have to make sure that the piston is at top dead center. And there's a nice little guide that I had on my computer. It's now died, because it's been sitting out here all day being used. But when you find top dead center for cylinders 1 and 6, just rotate it 90 degrees and it's gonna alternate in between which cylinders will be top dead center. So just replace those as you go. If you don't have your pistons at top dead center, you're gonna drop a valve, which is gonna require you to take off the head to retrieve it or somehow fit a magnet down in there to pick the valve back up. Now before I install the new dual springs, I gotta take these seals off, replace them with new ones, and basically just do this whole process in reverse. Now one question I do have for all of you LS guys is valve seal installation. So I have the old one here that I've removed, and for this new one, I need to press it over, I guess, this section of the valve that, I don't know if it spins or what. So I read online that you can put a 12mm socket on top and then just press it on, and I can feel it seat onto where it's supposed to go. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to go any further than that. So I can apply a pretty good amount of pressure here and it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Is that good enough? I'd hate for it not to be good enough, because then I'd have to redo all the valve seals. I was using a little bit of leverage with a wrench on a longer bolt with washers on it to press it on, but it really didn't feel like it was setting on any further than by me just pushing it on with my palm. So let me know. See, this is exactly what I mean in terms of me not knowing everything that I'm doing. And that's a cool part of YouTube, because I get to ask you guys and I get your feedback. It's almost like having my own personal engine builders. Yeah, you guys aren't here with me, but I can ask you a lot of questions. All right, we've been putting in work. We got the rocker arms installed with the valve springs and all of that. Now all we gotta do is just throw the valve covers on and we'll be good for tonight.
Not exactly true. You've been doing all the work. I've been now playing. So.
This is the year that I come in and just devastate. My style is great, action peoples cannot dominate. My rhymes are harder than last night's erection. Don't blame it close, I have this mic up in your midsection. My shit is love, simply meaning that my joint is tight. Amping up the mic, making sure production's tight.
Alright, valve covers are on. I did think it would be kind of cool to paint them, but I don't want to go through the hassle of painting them only to have them chip after about a month. So we'll just keep them a nice OEM color. It's perfectly fine. But as of now, I am so beat. I've had a long weekend just working on all this crap. I'm just bummed out that I didn't get to drift this weekend. I just got done watching Adam's video too, and man, they were missing an FRS right behind him and all those tandem trains, but it is what it is. So with that said, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for this whole week of daily uploads since it's my spring break. I'm looking forward to it. There's just so much to be done. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.